are old enough now. It's time I tell you about the monster. We must kill it, or it will kill us all.
All right, we got Predator, Killer of Killers. So this is a animated anthology movie, and when I heard that they were going to do an animated anthology movie of Predator, I thought, you know what? This is exactly what I thought the series should do, which is set each movie in different periods of time, much like what Prey did. Because Prey was like, okay, let's throw this into I believe it was like, let's have Native Americans versus this Predator. And I was like, all right, I want to see that. That sounds cool. You know, like take the Predator's tech and mix it in with the Native Americans, like bow and arrows and tomahawks and stuff. Okay, that'd be pretty cool. Reminds me of something like Cowboys and Aliens, but it worked. It worked really well. So when this was announced, it was like, okay, that sounds really cool. And this is 3 different stories that become tied into one, where takes place in one takes place in the Viking Age, one in if I remember correctly, the late 18 or in the 1800s in Japan, and then the third in World War II. So, and then kind of the wraparound is all 3 of them, all 3 stories connecting, because all 3 characters come together. And explain, you have to see the movie. Now, each Predator, because there's a different Predator in each time period. Each one is different in their looks and their abilities, and that's really cool. So like one in like the Viking Age will have like something to do with lasers, and then in the Japanese one, it's the laser, but it's something completely different. Like it's a new ability, new piece of tech, but it's still using that laser, and that's really cool. And then with the World War II one, it's an alien ship, like a spaceship, and it's like, okay, that's really cool. So I really liked how they took their time and gave each Predator their own feel to them, which was really cool. The animation looked really cool. It reminded me a lot of something like the Telltale games, like The Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, Tales from the Borderland, the Batman one, those type of that type of animation style. It looked very like comic booky, which was cool. And it also kind of reminded me a little bit of like something like the Spider-Verse movies, where like that, you know, like you get a couple of like frame rates go down a little bit. So it looked really cool. It is also very, very brutal. Like very brutal. It really seemed that because this was an animation, they could get away with a lot more than they could have. Like with Prey, there's some brutal moments in that one, but this makes that look like a PBS Kids show or something. Because This is just, whoa. Like, it's way up. The only real negative that I have is towards the third act, or we get to see all three of these main characters in each segment coincide together. While that's cool, they don't really explain how they got together. I won't say what ends up happening in like the third act and why they're all together. I'll leave that open so that you can watch it. But they don't, because they're in different time periods, because, Viking, that's the 800s. The Japanese one was, I believe, late 1800s, maybe very early 1900s, something like that. And the World War II, it takes place in, I think, the 1930s or 40s. I can't remember. But they don't really say like, oh, we have a time travel device, or, did they wait at certain periods of time? And like, it was more or less like, hey, we got to get these characters together. Let's just do this, throw them together, and then we'll just throw them into the situation that we have in the third act. And while that's cool, I have a lot of questions, like, okay, do the Predators have time traveling devices? Do they wait at certain periods of time and they do this? Like, what is it? What is I feel like there was a little chunk of it missing that included that part, because the movie's like 90 minutes long. So I feel like if they put like a good, like maybe 5-10 minutes in where they explained this, I feel like that would have been better. And I think, I understand like maybe they had a meeting like, hey, we can't let this go over 90 minutes, but I feel like they should have put that in there, and maybe they did and they just cut it out. And if so, it needs to be cut back in, because it would make a lot more sense. But that's me. But overall, this was really well done. Like I said before, I think taking the Predator into different time periods is a good way to go with this series. And I'm glad to see, this with the next Predator movie, Badlands, coming out later this year. That looks very promising, where that one's in kind of like the near future. This one says, hey, let's do an anthology and, put it in 3 separate time periods, which is cool. I mean, I would like to see a full movie on, the Predator versus Vikings, or the Predator versus Samurais, or Predator in World War II. I mean, that would be really cool. But overall, we got this, which is still really cool. And, the animation, it looks very like Telltale mixed with Spider-Verse, which is really cool. I really like that. The director of this also did Prey and is doing the new Badlands. It's named Dan Trachtenberg, who also did one of movie that I think is incredibly underrated, 10 Cloverfield Lane. I know a lot of people don't like the third act in that movie, but that's because they had to do that because of reshoots to make it a Cloverfield movie. It didn't bother me, but I think he's a really good person to drive this series, especially after Prey, because nobody expected Prey to be good. It was really kind of like, this is our last shot to resurrect this series because it's going nowhere. And Prey did it very well. And then this is just like, okay, you're stepping up. And I'm hoping Badlands does the same thing. It looks promising, but looks can be deceiving. So I'd give this one a great. If you ever wanted an anthology movie from the Predator series, this is the one to do it. As much as I did have some issues in the third act with some information that kind of seemed to be missing, it it would result in me kind of spoiling stuff, but what I said was kind of the best I can do without spoiling it. And overall, this is a really good Predator movie, and just as a whole. So, I think if you're an anthology person, check this out. If you're a Predator person, check this one out. If you're an animation person, check this out. I think you can get a lot of kicks from this.